Okay, here we go. Hello, everyone. This is Erin Morgan. I am the editor-in-chief of Eye Care Business Magazine, and I am excited to be here today with Pete Hanlin from Essilor and Nitin Sharma from Essilor. Pete is the Senior Director of Professional Solutions at Essilor, and Nitin is Director of Product Marketing. And thank you both for joining us today. We're very excited to have you here.
Thanks for having us.
Happy to be here.
Yeah. Great to see you both. And we are here today to talk a little bit about the current market realities, which we're all very aware of, and also share the key information about Varilux Comfort Max, how some of the technology behind this new lens product, which is really exciting, kind of just recently launched, and how they're going to explain a little bit about how eye care professionals can get non-wearers into progressive lenses with this lens and why this lens is particularly designed to help do that. So I am just going to do a little housekeeping that if you are here and listening and you're on Facebook or you're on YouTube, please tell us where you're from, the name of your practice. We'd love to see who's here. We'd love to give shout outs to folks along the way as we're doing our discussion. So just type it into the comment bar in Facebook or YouTube, and it'll pop right up back here and we'll be able to see it and see who you are. We will also, if we have time at the end, have a little Q&A session with Pete and Nitin. And so you can ask them anything about, the lens, about the current market situation that you have questions about. And, so type in your questions either along the way or save them and type them in at the end. But we'll have a little bit of time at the end once we go through our interview questions with Pete and Nitin. So, gentlemen, I'll just launch right into our questions here. So obviously in today's world, eye care professionals tell us they're looking for every advantage for their practice, no doubt. We see what's happening and we see the statistics. We're seeing a nice recovery, happening in our market, but it is critically important to make every patient count in a lasting way today. So what is your view on this reality today, and what is the consumer mindset out there?
Yeah, Pete, I'll take that. So Erin, first, thank you for having us here. And I want to give a big shout out to all the doctors, their staff for working so hard throughout this pandemic. And I know the market's looking good. So all the best to all of them as they start getting their patients back. Now, you ask an important question. When we talk to ECPs, there are a couple of things that we are hearing from them about their business. Number one is that they're looking to secure their business so that they can continue to have the level of profits that they were having before the pandemic started. And also the second thing that they're trying to do is to retain the patient base that they had so that they don't lose those patients moving out of the practices to alternate channels. But when you think about patients, it's really a two-axis situation here. You've got patients across all ages who today have been used to doing a lot of work on digital screens, a lot more than they were doing. It's not just a millennial concept anymore. Patients of all ages are on computers, iPads throughout the day. So there's a lot of digital exposure, and not just single vision wearers, but people who are presbyopes are going through a lot of that struggle to make sure that they're keeping their eyes healthy. So there's that dynamic there. But the second more important dynamic is around when a patient is getting out of their house, because a lot of them are still in that pandemic mentality. So when they're getting out of their house and they're going into a practice, they want to maximize their visit. So there's one word that I have for all of my ECPs and my friends in the industry, and that's conversion. Anyone who has walked into your practice is an opportunity for you to show them how your service is different from everyone else in the industry. The products that you offer are products that you cannot find anywhere else. The experience, the overall experience that you give is something that's bar none. And I think that is the most important thing for an independent eye care professional today in the industry.
Fantastic, and also true. It's such a unique time, and having that any kind of an advantage is so huge. And we're seeing that from our research that a lot of ECPs are experiencing higher capture rates and higher price points, higher sale dollar volume. So that is really encouraging. So I think, there's not a lot of resistance. If the products are there, the technology's there, and the need is there, it's obviously a win-win. So can you tell us a little bit about this latest generation of Varilux Comfort lenses, Varilux Comfort Max, just recently launched? How does this product fulfill the need today for a commercially relevant innovation that can support ECPs as well as appeal to consumers at the same time?
Yeah, that sounds like one I can probably help with a little bit. Um, so for years, everyone's been saying, oh, we live in a digital world. We're looking at screens more. We're interacting with electronics more. And okay, great. Well, if you didn't believe that before, 2020 should probably have convinced you that you're living almost your whole life in a screen, like we are right at this moment. And what's happened is for decades, progressive lenses have worked. They've gotten the job done. We could get through our lives with it. But what this challenging time, and with every challenge comes an opportunity, we have the opportunity to say, hey, if I didn't notice I was using screens before, I certainly notice it now because I don't even go to the fast food place anymore. I order everything on a screen. And what we're finding is the same progressives, the same other solutions like readers and bifocals and stuff like that, that used to cut it whenever we had a normal life, it's not cutting it anymore. We noticed that, hey, it's hard to see the screen. I've got to hold it in just the right spot. When I'm in my recliner working at home, I've got to adjust everything so I can see it. And then I've got to hold my head in a very specific place. And Varilux Comfort Max, as we'll discuss probably a little bit later, takes a design approach that really makes it a lot easier to not only use the product, but to fit the product. And so when you do have your patients coming back into your offices and everything, it's great to be able to put them in a product that gives them noticeably better performance with the screens that they're using. And when I say noticeably better, one of the studies that we did indicated that bifocal wearers and readers, people that use readers, found that 9 out of 10 of these folks, when they try a Varilux Comfort Max, they said, this is clearly better than what I'm using for my vision today. In fact, over 80% of them, 81% of them said, you know what, I didn't even have to think about it. I just got immediately used to it. And when you take someone out of a bifocal and put them in a progressive and they don't even have to think about it, having seen this study, I actually took a friend that's even a little bit older than I am, and I'm older than millennials for sure. I put him into a Varilux Comfort Max. He'd been wearing bifocals. He's over 70 years old. He's been wearing bifocals his entire presbyopic life.
Wow.
First thing he did is he texted me, which is very rare for this individual. And he said, I drive an Infinity, which has that little analog clock in the center of the dash. I've never been able to read the time on that clock. I can see everything in my car right now. So Varilux Comfort Max is a better solution than what your patients have been wearing now. And it gives you the opportunity to shine and to take the uncomfortableness that people are experiencing with all this more screen time and making them visually comfortable again. You bring value to their vision.
Absolutely. And what a great story to tell, and a great option to offer, especially in today's very a unique world for sure. So I have another question on that same front, but I'm going to give a quick shout out to, we have a viewer here from Sterling Optical in Nanuet, New York. And Canela, I'm going to try to pronounce your last name and tell me if I got it right. But welcome and thank you for joining us. Her name is Canela Panagiotopoulos. So hopefully I didn't butcher that too badly. So thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. And folks, keep telling us where you're from, and we'd love to give shout outs to different practices and different eye care professionals as we go along. So is Pete and Nitin, is this a new concept for Varilux, kind of innovating to meet the needs you are seeing in the market?
Pete, I'll take that. It is absolutely not. So let me put it this way. Every single Varilux that we've launched in the market, and that is since the launch of Varilux Comfort in the 90s, the bedrock of every single Varilux innovation is in understanding and meeting patients' needs. So we start the process of building a progressive lens from doing research across the world understanding presbyopes behavior on an ongoing basis. So this isn't something that we do every 2, 3 years. We'll start a commission a study and try to figure out. On an ongoing basis, we are interacting with progressive lens wearers, and this whole digital revolution makes it so much more easier. And we're asking them questions. We're doing ethnographic studies. We're following them as they're doing different tasks, and as their lifestyles are evolving, we're actually understanding how their needs around their vision are evolving. So right from Varilux Comfort, we have this patented process called the live optics process that is unique to Essilor, and that's why our lenses are always with the time, because we take into account how a patient is using their eyeglass lenses. We design a progressive lens based on that information so that we know that it'll actually work for the wearer of today, not a wearer from 10 years ago or 15 years ago. And last but certainly not the least, what we also do is before we launch a lens into the market, we test it on actual real wearers. So Pete just told you 9 out of 10 non-wearers of progressive lenses really like Varilux Comfort Max. The reason why we do that is twofold. One, we want to make sure that what we've created doesn't just work on a computer algorithm. It's not something that you can run a technical algorithm on and it says, yeah, pass, it's great. But we want to make sure that patients actually like it. But the more important point for us is that when we commercially launch a lens, a progressive lens called Varilux in the market, the ECP can be confident that we've done all the legwork to make sure that this lens works on every single patient. So they don't have to worry about whether my patient's going to be happy or not happy. So live optics, patient-centric innovation is the bedrock of all Varilux innovation that we've launched and we continue to launch in the market.
Fantastic. It sounds like such an exciting product. Can you tell us just a little bit more specifically about Varilux Comfort Max? How does it actually approach vision correction in the market?
Yeah, I'll be happy to tackle
Sorry.
that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as Nitin said, we use a design approach called live optics. Live
Right.
optics not only looks at the lens's performance, but it also looks at human visual characteristics and behaviors. And something that we've learned over the past 10 years, especially, because Essilor spends about $250 million a year just researching vision and optics and everything else.
Wow.
One of the things we realized was the design approach that has been taken with progressive lenses for the past 50 years doesn't actually really work the best. What I mean by that is for decades, every time you see a new progressive launched, what does the manufacturer talk about? They talk about, well, here's how wide the spherical area is. Here's how we've managed the stigmatism. Here's how long or short the progression is. Those are all optical characteristics. And what we've been trying to design progressives to do is give you this little tiny area of 20/20 vision. Now, something that most optometrists, especially ones that fit bifocal soft contact lenses, realize, sometimes 20 happy is more important than 20/20. You've got to create a situation where the brain perceives it has clear vision. And that was the design approach that was taken with Varilux Comfort Max that came out of live optics. The objective from the beginning with Varilux Comfort Max was to create the largest zone of 20 happy vision. What do I mean by 20 happy? Turns out there's 3 components. Resolution is one, so you do need to see fairly small objects. But you also have to be able to see contrast to be 20 happy, and you have to be able to track objects that are moving around. So if your newspaper or screen or something moves 2 inches and it takes it into a blur zone, you're not going to be 20 happy. And so what they set out to do was to create an avatar of the visual human system that could say, what do we have to do? What combination do we need to keep people 20 happy? And what they quickly discovered, again, optometrists aren't going to be surprised, what makes my brain 20 happy may not make Nitin's or your brain 20 happy, because we all have different visual profiles. Due to our eye shape and what our level of presbyopia is, our brain wants to see different characteristics at different points in the lens. And so they ended up with quite a few visual profiles. But in the end, what they could do was they could tinker around with the design, and they could try different configurations out until they could accurately predict what would make real wearers 20 happy. And they expanded that zone by 46%. So the area in a Varilux Comfort Max that your brain perceives as getting clear vision in is much larger than whatever you're wearing today, with one possible exception. Um, in fact, when we did one independent study, we found that wearers were rating their visual comfort, their visual satisfaction with Varilux Comfort Max as 8 out of 10, which is
Wow.
exceptionally high. 8 out of 10, the skeptic will say, why isn't it 10 out of 10? Well, keep in mind that we had another independent study done of all the top designs in the market just a few years ago. Only half of wearers were able to rate their vision as more than 7 out of 10 for
Wow.
intermediate and near vision. But with Varilux Comfort Max, 8 out of 10 was the average. You're going to make your patients very 20 happy. And 20 happy patients are the ones that tell their wife, their neighbors, their friends that, hey, this doctor really took care of my inability to read anymore. You need to go visit this doctor. So,
Right. So there's a lot of 20 happy going around then for
yes.
everyone. It's a great thing. So we're also familiar with the Varilux X series. So how is Varilux Comfort Max different from that series?
Okay, so obviously I've tried Varilux Comfort Max. I love Varilux Comfort Max. These lenses right now are Varilux X design lenses. Why is that?
Okay.
Varilux X design works better than Varilux Comfort Max, but they're two different animals. What Varilux X does, and I'm very confident in saying that if anybody that's listening here is wearing a Varilux X series, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The lens disappears in your vision. You literally cannot tell that you're wearing a progressive lens when you wear a Varilux X design. It has something called extend technology, which is very similar to a design concept called simultaneous vision. It gives you a range of vision over a bunch of different depths. Varilux Comfort Max doesn't do that. Varilux Comfort Max uses a similar idea to create 20 happy. But the neat thing about Varilux Comfort Max from a practitioner standpoint, from an optician's standpoint, is that usually when you have a design like Varilux X series that tries to give you the ultimate in every performance of vision, it also means that it's going to be very particular in the way you fit that lens. It's doing so much that you have to put it in just the right place. Varilux Comfort, which is Varilux Comfort Max is the continuation of the concept of Varilux Comfort, which has been the most popular progressive design in the history of PALs. It's a very easy to fit lens. It always has been. And it turns out that the concept of 20 happy does not require you to get more precise with your fit. It's a design concept that improves satisfaction without having to improve precision, which is very rare when it comes to a progressive design. So you put a Varilux Comfort Max on a patient, they are going to be happy. They're going to be happier than they were with whatever they were wearing before. You put them in a Varilux X design and you do your fitting right, you will have a patient that will never be able to go anywhere else and use anything else, because anything else is going to be a down step, and they're going to say there's
Sure.
something wrong with my vision. So two great products that probably are going to complement each other pretty well in the market, I would think.
Sure sounds like it. Well, thank you for explaining that. That's really, really helpful to know. So with, the practice success of eye care professionals across the country in mind, which is, at the forefront of everyone's mind in the industry and in practice today, how does the new Varilux Comfort Max and the Varilux X series support them in the long run?
Okay, I can take the question. Well, with both Varilux X series and Varilux Comfort Max, what an independent eye care professional have today is the ability to elevate their progressive lens offering in the market. Uh, One of the best things about a Varilux X series lens, as Pete said, that it would disappear in your vision. It's the closest to a single vision lens that you can get within the Varilux portfolio. So when you think about it, this is the one lens you should be always, always recommending to your patients. If you're serious about patient retention, if you're really looking to make sure that patients don't go anywhere else, don't get a lens that someone else has, you need to put them in a Varilux X series lens. Where I would say Varilux X series is not an option for a patient because you present it to them, it could be price, and honestly, I can't think of any other reason. Then I would say lead with Varilux Comfort Max. Bring out Varilux Comfort Max. It's a great lens. It's something that they'll be happy with, and it's a great lens there. The other portion, so you're elevating your practice with a Max and a X series lens, is when you have people who are not wearing progressive lenses. To give you an example, there are 25 million single vision wearers above the age of 45 years in the US every year. These are people who could be, should be in progressive lenses, but they are not. And this is only single vision. There's an equally large number of bifocal wearers. 50% of the US population above the age of 45 that should be in progressive lenses is not. So whichever way you try to slice this number, you can look across industries. There aren't many examples in any other industry where you can go out and say 50% of my market is not wearing a product that will make their lives better and I can sell that product to them. Use Varilux Comfort Max for your first time progressive lens wearer if they're not taking Varilux X series. It will help you secure a patient, elevate them from a single vision wearer. It'll help you get a higher ASP as a practice. It'll get you a very happy patient and it'll secure them for life with your practice. So I think use X series and Varilux X series and Varilux Comfort Max judiciously to build your business and secure the core of your business.
Wonderful. Very sage advice. It's very good to hear that and to kind of understand how to position them today for sure. So we have, we're running a little over time, but we do have a question here from a viewer. And I'm going to give a shout out to a couple of folks that are telling us they're here as well. But folks, if you have a question, feel free to type it in now and we will try to get to it. We don't have a lot of time left, but we can address this. But we have Jane Summers is here. Garrett Allen gives a big shout out to Pete. So I imagine you folks know each other. And then we have Stephen Martinez is also here. So thank you all for joining us. Stephen Martinez says, is the product available, is Varilux Comfort Max available in all lens materials?
Yeah, so it's available in standard plastic 1.5, in poly, in 1.6 and 1.6.7. It is not available in 1.7.4, which is not unusual because if you've been dispensing Varilux Comfort W2 Plus, you know that material is also not available. That design is also not available in 1.7.4. So across the board, all materials except for the 1.7.4.
Okay, gotcha. And you know, we do have kind of, you know, one more question for you, and I know we're short on time, so thank you both for taking the extra time here. If you want our viewers to take away one thing from today, and we all want, you know, simple takeaways, right? So if you want our viewers to take away one thing from today, what would that be?
You know, as an optician, I'll just say.
I know it. I love that, Pete, and that's great to have the optician's, you know, viewpoint.
I love my patients. I want them to come in, get a great pair of glasses, but then I don't want them to have to come back until the next time they need to see me. And I know that if I'm dispensing Varilux X Series and Varilux Comfort Max, not only am I going to have patients that are tolerating their glasses, these are going to be happy people that say, this works better than what I used before. And we know that patients tend to, correctly or incorrectly, they blame their doctor or they give their doctor credit for their vision. And so I want to be getting the credit for the fact that Varilux X Series and Varilux Comfort Max works better than pretty much everything on the market. So take that credit, you know, create happy patients that come back to you and spend that disposable income that they have during COVID. And why not spend it with you to get better vision? It's a pretty good investment.
Definitely.
I'll just add one more thing to that. And I think for all practices, really, it's a time to reflect a little bit on what is it that we are presenting to our patients. Our patients have several options in the market today across different mediums. So it's important that we are not settling for what's good enough. You know, if your patient didn't come back, there's a pretty good chance they were found themselves on Yelp, they found themselves in Google reviews, and you never saw them back. A patient that never comes back is not necessarily a patient that's happy. And I think we need to elevate ourselves from good enough to wow. And if you're not delivering a patient wow, I think you really need to rethink on your product offer and what you're offering. So I think stay very focused there. I think products like these will help you elevate your practice and your offering. Erin, I do see a question here on do we have the time to?
We do. We know Alex. Hello, Alex Yoho. Thank you for joining us and welcome. Alex asks, what will the patient experience with Max over X in swim?
Well, I can start, and then Pete, please feel free to add. There is, Max is going to be excellent when it comes to patient experience compared to pretty much every other lens in the market that you can think of, except for Varilux X series. The Varilux X series uses a special blank, and we call it the nano-optics technology. The physical geometry of that blank is built so that there is no trade-off between width of vision and swim. And that's exactly why a Varilux X series. So the shortest answer to you, Alex, is if you ever got a patient who was wearing Varilux X series into Max, will they be happy with their lens? They may be all right, but they will never be have the same reaction that they will with the Varilux X series. It's the swim is it's almost gone. Right.
Nailed it. Exactly what he said.
Ditto. And Alex says, agree, I love X.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
So thank you, Alex, for your questions. And thank you, folks, for staying on a little bit longer and answering these questions from our viewers. We really appreciate this information. It is invaluable for our eye care professional community today. So we appreciate your time. And thank you very much for everything. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thank you guys for joining us. And we'll have more live streams coming up in the coming weeks. So please stay tuned and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.